years. Okay, so this is a page right out of this book we have on our coffee table for our youngest son. Suddenly, a brilliant light appeared right over his head. Joseph looked into the light and saw two glorious people in white robes. It was Heavenly Father and Jesus Christ. Joseph asked them which he should join. Now, I'm not saying there are 4 words or 4 letters. There's just something missing there. Now, the rest of it says, they told him to join something or some things missing. I'm not quite sure. Give me your best guess. What goes in this missing space and this missing space? It could be one word, multiple words. The dashes don't give you any clues. Could be sect, none of them, church, religion. Now, I bring that up because what if we just decided to proceed with this answer in mind as teachers? So as a new teacher, or even as a teacher in general, we want to know, okay, what is the one? God, just tell me, what's the one instructional approach that I should choose? And the answer is simple, none of them. Don't join any of them, right? So no single instructional model is more effective than another in every single context. I want to make sure that you heard that right. There's no single instructional model that works for every single context. The truth is we have to be like doctors every single day, figuring out what the objective is, who are we working with, and then saying, oh, this is what we're going to do. The truth is that a variety of factors. Think of like the topic being studied, nature of the concepts or skills being taught, learning objectives, student needs. All of those are considered before we decide this is how instruction and learning will be designed. That's why effective, experienced teachers, they're not a convert to one particular learning model. And we'll give you some examples of what we mean by learning models. They're masters of all of them, but converts to none of them. They basically match up the instructional model to the learning objectives and the students. So here we have the instructional trinity, okay? They represent 3 different places on a teaching continuum. So the truth is on BYU Idaho's campus, you experience and get sold, maybe even oversold on this idea that everything needs to be student-centered, right? The kiddo needs to drive it. The learner's in control. It needs to be about them. Yes, there are some times for that. And if you click, you'll see a very common instructional approach that falls on this side of the continuum called inquiry-based instruction. If you click on that, folks, it'll open up some more information and give you an overview. And then click here and you can see what it looks like at a glance, the different components. And click here and you can watch a teacher in action. And I'm pretty sure we've covered inquiry-based instruction in the past. And we said, look, this is a good idea when the learning situation is meant to be open-ended, and it's not the aim to achieve a single right answer to a particular question, but rather involve them in the process of what? Observing, posing questions, engaging in experimentation, exploration, collecting, analyzing data, presenting their findings. So there are times where this instructional approach, and I'm going to click here for a glance at it, this is when these are the 5 key elements of inquiry-based instruction. It's not be free, go learn on your own. No, there are 5 distinct phases that we structure for students, and yes, they move through. But this is effective in some situations, not all instructional situations. Conversely, if you go all the way to the other side of the continuum, which on this campus might get painted as the great and abominable church, it's not, okay? This is direct instruction. If we click on this, like direct instruction, I'm not just going to lecture my kids. Good, because that's not what direct instruction is. Direct instruction is targeted when content is new, skills are new to students, or it's foundational and fundamental for them to understand this part and how it connects to other parts. That's when it's a good fit. And if we click on here, let's see what happens. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything evil. So when I click on this, there are these 7 steps that teachers are actually driving, not students in this case, where before the lesson, the teacher has a clear idea what the learning intentions are. Here are learning goals. This is the direction we're headed. Communicates to the students, and the teacher knows as well what the success criteria is. There's a hook at the beginning to build engagement. The lesson includes multiple sources of input. So it might be text, might be picture, video, stories, examples. Then students start to go through guided practice under the supervision of the teacher. There's feedback. The end of the lesson provides closure, opportunities to make sense for kids to bring together, and then you send them off to apply it on their own in varied contexts. So when people say direct instruction, it's not lecture. Direct instruction is actually really solid when it's new stuff and it's foundational. Okay. So with that in mind, you've got this continuum that has direct instruction on the teacher side, the teacher driving, inquiry-based instruction with the students driving, even though the teachers design these phases, and then guided discovery learning, which is somewhere in between. And just like the other ones, you can see the components of it. You can see an example of a lesson. You can watch the teacher in action, but we are going to be converts, future teachers, to none of these. So on some days, we're going to be Catholics. On some days, we're going to be Baptists. On other days, we might be Seventh-day Adventists. So it just depends on the day and based on what's being taught and what are the needs of my students. Knowing and being experts in each of these instructional models, but not overly converting to any of them. And the problem is we've been indoctrinated with whatever we experienced as a student, whatever teachers we've worked around, and whatever we've read and experienced as constituting good teaching. And you dig in just by clicking on it, reading through this part, that's your general overview, clicking on this to see what the main components are, and then you watch a teacher do it. And between those 3 or 4 elements, you'll have everything you need. It's on any given day. What do? You show up at a doctor's office, and he doesn't say, well, my doctors did to me, and what I'm the most comfortable with is to put this cold stethoscope thing on your heart, and I'm going to stick something up your nose and down your throat. There, that's what we do every single day. It's going to be based on whatever the situation requires. So to do that, we have to be masters of different instructional models.